time for illegal ham in the face? But bro, where's the banjo?
Some sports shows try to give you hot takes, but only one can give you a big old piece of hot ham. Welcome to Illegal Ham to the Face, talking all Cleveland sports and, of course, food on our semi-famous Fat Boy Thursday. Here are your hosts, Fatty and Big Bry.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome on into Illegal Ham to the Face. I am that fat guy, Jared Fatty Bates. He is Big Brian. What is going on, big fella?
Hey, man. How you doing?
Hey, another day, buddy. Got to dig a hole, dick around with an irrigation pipe for most of my day today, so it was fun.
Sounds fun.
It was not, but, you know, I came home when I picked up the kids. They're like, Dad, what happened to you today? I'm like, I don't want to talk about it. So
give me a beer.
Thank God we had the show tonight, so it kind of worked out, right?
Yep, I'd say so.
All right, so welcome on into Legal Ham to the Face. We are a Network 216 show. We want to thank Harold Keel and Lake Erie APA. Also, we want to thank City Dogs Cleveland. Now, Bry, last week, Jazzy got adopted. Also,
awesome news.
2 dogs were sponsored by the Illegal Ham to the Face crew here to be adopted. So we paid it forward, and Jazzy was one of them that we paid for to get adopted. So please go adopt if you can at City Dogs Cleveland. And if you cannot adopt, please donate, volunteer, whatever you can to help out with City Dogs.
For sure.
Bry, other than that, we'll start our show with some shout outs. We did have Jazzy being adopted. I do have to shout out my wonderful wife is having surgery tomorrow, 50-year-old, getting her tonsils taken out. So that's going to be a fun show for me. Also want to shout out Justin and Lauren. Their birthdays were this week for us. And everybody in the Illegal Ham to the Face Fantasy Football League for showing up for the draft on Tuesday. We have a little surprise for you guys here, a little bit, about a few minutes. But just want to thank all that. Brian, do you got any shout outs?
Yeah, let me shout out. I guess we'll start with the good. Our buddy Nick Wallace had a successful surgery today, so let me shout him out. And we're hoping for a speedy recovery. Thoughts and prayers with you and your family. It's going to be a long road back, but he's a fighter, so he's going to do it. And yeah, and his brother Ryan was a donor, so shout both of them out. Thank you to my wife for reminding me. And then we're both doing well, so that's all that matters right now. The other one, sad news about Jim Donovan today. So yeah, thoughts and prayers with him and his family. His health certainly is the most important thing right now, and you know, he'll be one of the biggest Browns fans forever. So so now he's more on the fan side than the business side. So we're with you, Jim. Like I said before, if you got a problem with Jim Donovan, you got a problem with yourself. So everybody is 100% behind him.
Yeah, and when I saw the news today, like at first I couldn't believe it, and then it just kind of sunk in for a second. 25 years as the voice of the Browns.
Wow.
Sending prayers out to him and his family. Take a step away to, cancer comes back. And when it does, normally it's aggressive, and it is again this time. So just sending prayers to him, his family, the Cleveland Browns organization too. It's got to be a big blow to them. He's called our playoff game. He called a playoff win. Probably the first time in his whole career in Cleveland he's been able to do that. So at least he got to do that. And at least he's gotten to see some winning football here in Cleveland the past few years, and not the dumpster fire that we have been for the 20 years before this. So just, shout out to him, prayers, just get well, Jim, and cheer him on. And maybe we all can have a beer together when they get to the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, I mean, he's all I've really ever known as a Browns announcer, 25 years. I don't really remember before the team moved away a whole lot. I think Nev Chandler, I remember hearing my dad talk about, but yeah, I can't really remember who was there before. I know with the Indians had Herb Score and The Cavs had Joe Tate, so certainly Jim Donovan is up there and that royalty as far as Cleveland sports announcers go. So we've had some great ones, and he's definitely on the Mount Rushmore, in my opinion.
He's definitely got to be up there. Bri, we do have a special guest tonight, just for a few minutes, and we had our legal hand to the face fantasy football league draft Tuesday night. The rules this year were one rookie has to be in your starting lineup, and I've already Justin for stealing my one pick. Chris is here now, but I hate to say this, we do have to acknowledge him, right? Like, do we really have to?
That's what he wants. That's what he wants.
All right, here with the illegal hand to the face title belt is a Big Man. What is going on, Big Man? How's it going?
Your champ is here, boys.
Look at that. Isn't that pretty?
I want to show you this piece of hardware for all you guys in that league.
That sounds solid.
It's the only time you guys are going to get a good look at it. Because I've been like this for a good while. This is my baby right here.
That's a pretty damn good belt that Harold bought us, isn't it? That thing's nice,
This is
isn't
a
it?
pretty heavy duty belt, man. I was so surprised. I mean, this is the real thing. You talk about some heavy metal.
Wow.
I'm injured.
Have you slept in it yet?
Put it on, but because it's way too heavy. But oh yeah, this is the real deal, boys.
Now, hey, there is a rule that I'm going to enforce with the belt. Clothes have to stay on if you're going to wear that belt. No putting that belt on naked in front of the mirror, all right?
No promises.
No.
Yeah.
Other people, if you're going to do it, disinfect that thing before you ship it out again.
Hey, I got plenty of sandy wipes, I promise.
Oh, goodness.
Like
I don't think I want it anymore.
I'm not. This baby ain't going nowhere for a good long while, boys.
All right. So, Big Man, we have to ask you, how did you come up with this wrinkle that we got with the rookie?
Guys, I've been playing fantasy for a long time. And, I just started seeing things over the internet about, vampire leagues. And it just got the wheels turning for me. I'm like, what could we do we haven't done and different? And I'm sure I'm not the first person to think of this. What about starting? At first I thought like an all rookie team, but I was like, there's just not enough rookies.
No.
I was like,
Right.
well, let's just get our feet wet and start one rookie at a time, just one rookie each week in our lineup. And I hope I hope everybody likes it.
What do you got there? Coors bottle?
So far.
Oh yeah. Nice
Banquet.
old banquet.
Oh, man. You're
Nice.
fancy
I was going to say
down
Red
there.
Stag for a second.
I got to cover it with my trusty Cody Jinks. Don't be an asshole koozie.
There it is.
Cheers to that.
All right. So, everybody that doesn't know, we do a fantasy football league. The belt is going to go to the next winner this year. I do have to announce all the people that are in it. We have the Portage County Prostitutes are making their way back in. You got Harold, who is sponsoring the belt. You got the runner with Chris for being runner-up multiple times now. You got, oh, good God, Justin, your Moms of Massage team. You got Team Big Meat. You got Dog Pound with Craig. You got Honky Cat with Lauren. Always next year with Joe Bear. Phil McCracken with the champ right here.
Yeah, you can't change that name.
You got the Big Bry, and you got my team, which is my Knicks in a box. So
Love it.
there's our teams for this year. So you will be getting fantasy updates throughout the entire show of the Illegal Ham to the Face Fantasy Football League. So enjoy it. Big Man, thank you for joining us. I do have to ask you right before you get out of here, though. You are a Cleveland Browns fan. What are your expectations for the Browns team this year?
Oh, got to be Super Bowl or bust, boys. Got to be.
There he is.
Wow.
That's the
I like the
expectation
karma.
every year.
Justin,
realistically, if we make a deep run in the playoffs, I will be happy. We got to have some better play from Deshaun Watson, though. That's
Mhm.
gonna be
Improve. Need some improvement.
and that defense obviously continue and be an elite.
All
And
right.
one more thing, my heart goes out to the family. My prayers go out to Jimmy D. Sucks. I heard the news as well. It just sucks.
Mhm.
So prayers go out to him and his family.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's a blow for this year. Like
Yeah.
everybody's kind of expecting him to be back in the booth and just having one good run at it. And
It's going to be a different season without him.
yes, it is. Yes, it is. Big man, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys. Enjoy these.
Good man, big man.
I plan on dishing out this year, and go Browns.
Go Browns.
When's
All
the
right,
next
brother.
cheap ham party?
Oh, we do got to get.
That's what I want to know. That's what the people want to know.
You got to get juice in this.
We'll definitely have to get. Juice in
Maybe
there.
Friday before
Juice is a
kickoff
little
or
MIA
something.
right now.
You want to do it? Hey, you want to do it Friday before kickoff?
We could.
All right, get a hold of
Maybe.
Juice.
I got to talk with the juice.
You talk with the Juice because
See when he's
with us-
available.
because with the Cowboys coming to town, we got to have a cheap ham party again.
Oh, right. I forgot. Yeah, I forgot he's a big Cowboy fan.
You guys got a problem to keep it civil because can't get it out of hand. Nobody drinking too much.
No, that's
What are
never
you
happened at a
talking
cheap ham
to?
party before, huh? What were you drinking last time?
Wow. I think I brought out the bourbon. I know that.
Oh yeah, you were already
Oh, okay.
you were
All
three
right.
sheets before we were 5 minutes into the show.
I got me some Blantons laid out for this show, the Cheap Ham show.
All right. Well, get a hold of Juice and let us know.
Nice.
All right.
Okay. Sound good, guys.
All right. Well, we will see you, champ, and keep an eye on him on his fantasy football pod squad. He'll be putting out some stuff fantasy football wise. So go check him out there. All right. See you,
Thanks,
big
guys.
man. I love
Later,
that
boss.
face. I miss that face. Holy
It's been a while. It's been a
I know.
while.
Hey,
Been too
slapping
long.
slapping the belt like he's Roman Reigns. Son of a bitch.
To be
I
the
can't
best,
believe-
you got to beat the best, right?
I can't blame him though. He did really good last year in fantasy football, man. He kicked some ass.
Mhm.
And hey, him and Juice definitely know their shit when it comes to fantasy football. And just having fun little quirks that we have in our league make it so much fun. Like I said, I got pissed off at Justin because I was going to draft the rookie kicker from the Rams, and he snatched that shit up right in front of me.
Mm-hmm. Happens every year. At least a
So-
couple times.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I told you about Marvin Harrison too.
Get sniped. Yeah, get sniped.
Just get sniped, and then you see our chats going off. I bet you were going to pick that guy, weren't you? Ah!
It happened to me, I think, at least 4 or 5 times last night to where I'm staring at the board. I'm like, okay, just don't pick this one guy. Don't pick this one guy. The guy right ahead of me. And he picked him like 70% of the time. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me, man. No? That's what makes it fun. And then you're scrambling. You got a minute to make up your mind after that.
Yeah, and especially if you're not around your phone at the time and you gotta go do something and come back, you can hear the doo 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 doo, and I'm like, oh crap, I gotta pick. So, Justin said he got it in the sixth
do
round.
you want? Oh, it
Go
is kicker, yeah. Do we want to talk about your second? Was it your second round pick or your third round pick?
Who did? Was it 8? Oh, Nico Collins.
You gobbling up those Michigan guys. My goodness, I didn't know you loved them so much.
Well, when they finally have a good quarterback to throw them the football, like the quarterback from Ohio State, I gotta gobble them up.
My favorite Ohio State quarterback,
Hey, I had
CJ 0-2 Stroud.
Jeez.
I think that's his legal name now.
Is it? Well, at least he's not 0-4, like a couple Michigan quarterbacks I know of.
No, they didn't last
And a
that long.
handful.
If they went 0-2 or 0-3, they were gone. They were transferring. I can't remember who. Chad Henne? Was he 0-4?
yeah.
I don't know. He was
Chad
0-4.
Henne.
He was
God,
definitely a lifer at
was
Michigan.
it Spate? Was it Spate?
Spate, yeah, he
Oh.
was probably at least 0-2. Then he transferred to like UCLA or something.
And played for Chip Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta love it. All right, Brian. Well, let's get into our show like we always do. I want to thank Big Man again for joining us. We do have trivia for you tonight. I have trivia brought to you because it's Justin's birthday. He gave me a nice little fun one for you.
Good.
Let me play the sounder, and we will go from there. Maybe I'll play. And like I said, our trivia is brought to you by City Dogs Cleveland. Let me bring it up here. Jazzy did get adopted last week, so thank you to whoever adopted Jazz, which was their longest resident. Now, Beth did not give us a dog this week, but she wanted us to pimp out the event they got going on this weekend right now, and it is tattoo benefits with City Dogs right there. All sales benefits go to City Dogs. It is State Road in Parma. You can do an arm or leg tattoo only, and proceeds of that go straight to City Dogs. And she sent me some nice little illustrations of some tattoos that they got the Rally Possum there. Oh, there's one for you. You got Pugachoo, Pugosaurus Rex, Bumble Pug. Yeah,
I like
you got a whole
Bumble
bunch.
Pug. I can get down with that.
Or the Pug Manatee right there, the Pugatee.
The Pug-tato.
You have the City Dogs logo here. You got, Dog Taco, everything else. So here are some tattoos that they will have available for you to get tattooed on you. And like I said, all benefits go to City Dogs Cleveland. Right there, hosted by Parma Tattoo right there. It is this weekend, 29th through the 31st from 12 through 8 p.m. So go get a tattoo and support some City Dogs. Brian, I'm thinking about going and getting a pug too.
I think if you're thinking about or holding out to get a 2025 Super Bowl champion tattoo, now would be the time to do it. I think that's a sign right there.
That Dog Taco is a hot dog.
Don't take the bait.
I had to take the
keep
bait.
throwing it out there. If you keep taking it, they're like dog treats to you. Here you go, buddy.
Oh, you like your bacon strips? Here's some more.
Here you go. Here's some more taco humor.
All right. So the trivia that is brought to you by City Dogs Cleveland tonight, Bri. In the past 13 years, what AFC North team has got the 7th worst playoff record?
The 7th worst playoff record the last 13 years
in the NFL.
Oh, that's a lot of. All right, I'm gonna have to write that one down. All right,
It's
so
just,
last
hey,
13 years,
just in the AFC North, brother.
AFC North team. It has the 7th worst.
7th worst playoff record
In the last 13 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Well, I got a 1 in 4 chance, right?
That is right.
All right.
I got Princess getting excited downstairs.
Well, let's see. The Browns are what, 1-0? No, 1-1 over the last 13 years. Is that correct?
1-2.
1-2. You're right, because we lost to Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, is that 7th worst? I don't know. I know the Steelers haven't won one in like 10 years, maybe. All right, let me chew on it.
All right, you chew on it, and we will get into your Cleveland headlines. All right, welcome into your Cleveland headlines tonight. We are going to go Browns heavy right out of the gate, Bri. Your Cleveland Browns have trimmed down the roster to a 53-man roster. some cuts have been made with Deontay Foreman being cut, Siaki Ika, some of the big names to be cut, draft picks by them. Bri, how do you feel about this 53-man roster? And who were you kind of shocked to kind of see off of it?
I mean, initially the 4 quarterbacks was kind of eye-opening, but and I think if you really were paying attention, you understood that we probably weren't going to carry 4 into our first game. So I think they were just, they were trying to get something, anything for Tyler Huntley, and whether that's because they were trying to get an extra draft pick or they just were trying to keep him away from certain teams. Maybe Baltimore is the one I told you this morning. I thought they might want him back because their backup is Josh Johnson, who he's got to be close to 40 years old by now. He's been in the league forever, and he's played with like probably 40 different NFL teams. So I could see a reunion in Baltimore with him because he's got experience with that organization. But you couldn't get anybody to bite. So they tried, but at a certain point you gotta let them go, and it didn't cost them. I mean, that would have sucked if it cost them Foreman, if somebody had picked him up, but it didn't. You were able to get him back, and so I think no real surprises there. The Mike Hall going to the commissioner's exempt list was maybe something some people were expecting a little bit, but like I said, it shouldn't really affect you a whole lot because you're pretty deep. You got a lot of veterans at defensive tackle, and then just the guys coming off injury. The one thing that maybe stuck out to me a little bit, just looking at the final 53, was just carrying 2 tight ends, and you got Njoku, you got Jordan Akins, but then nobody else. And I think Ricci was going to be that guy until he got hurt. But yeah, you got to think you have to. I don't know. Are the Browns going to try to carry only 2 tight ends into the first game? I don't know. Usually you always have 3, right? At least.
Yeah, because you have those guys on special teams and stuff too. That's where I got kind of a little confused at, especially with the tight ends, Bri. But like we always say, like we make the overreactions of like the roster cuts and the 53. This is going to be a revolving door for like the next week until kickoff. Like there's going to be people in and out of that 53-man roster and signed to the practice squad and signed to the team, then back down to the practice squad. So it's going to be kind of a revolving door of what's going to happen there. And they're probably waiting on, maybe a guy that they were looking at to either hit, the waivers and they can probably snag up, or, maybe get a free agent. But right now, I think they're kind of just sitting pat with what they have. I mean, it was nice to see that Wills and Conklin were activated off the injury list. They did put Chubb on the 4-game injured reserve list, which we were kind of predicting that was going to happen. But other than that, like the only one that really kind of shocked the crap out of me was like Ika. That was a 3rd-round pick that they drafted. And I mean, everybody can say you can see the writing on the wall because he played pretty much the entire 4th quarter of that Minnesota game after the joint practices and everything. So kind of curious what the hell happened there, especially being a 3rd-round pick, and he hasn't even finished his full contract yet. I mean, it was like a couple of years ago we drafted him, right?
Last year. Not this past draft, but this would have been his 2nd year. And to me, like, the writing was on the wall when they drafted Mike Hall. Like, you have all these veterans, and you have Ika, who's supposed to be the next generation guy who's, you give him maybe a red shirt first year, and then he's able to step in and hopefully contribute his next year. And then maybe by his 3rd year, he's a starter. And, the fact that they draft his position with their very first draft pick, you kind of let you know that they're not happy with their young talent at a defensive tackle. So, I mean, I'm surprised that he cut a 3rd-round draft pick in his 2nd year, but I'm not surprised because they just hadn't shown any confidence at all in him.
Besides the tight end that we just talked about with only having 2, was there another concern on this, like a position group that you were kind of like, okay, like, because like for me, like the offensive line, they got plenty on the offensive line and plenty on the defensive line, and that And like the linebackers were kind of like, they kind of peeled me off a little bit there, what they did with the linebacking core. What do you think?
Yeah, linebacker was one to where I think did they keep like 6 linebackers or something?
Think so.
And yeah, after JOK and Hicks, his name and his leadership, and Devin Bush, I guess, still has some potential, but yeah, you look at that room and don't get super excited about it. This Nathaniel Watson that they got, I think, in the 6th round, hasn't been able to play in the preseason, so we really don't know what we got with him. And then, yeah, that room leaves something to be desired. Even like the cornerbacks a little bit. We got our top 3, and then we got Cam Mitchell. And maybe I'm being spoiled and picky because how many guys are really going to look at their 5th cornerback and be like, okay, yeah, I'm comfortable with that guy. So yeah, probably those 2 positions, corner and linebacker. And obviously, I think we've been talking about it for a while with the wide receiver group, but you kind of had a pretty good feel on which way they're going to go. I heard last week that possibly said Tillman might not have a safe spot on the roster, but so that threw me for a loop a little bit, but I really didn't believe it just because you don't really have anybody else pushing him. And Mike Woods had a good final game against Seattle, but maybe just a little too little too late. And I think they still believe in the potential for some of these wide receivers that are younger. So yeah, no real shocker. Ika, you said just because he was a draft pick. Yeah, other than that, I wasn't super surprised about a whole lot.
What did you like when it first initially came out that the Browns were keeping 4 quarterbacks, Brian? I know we talked about it a little bit, but like I texted you about it and I'm like, man, I can't believe they're keeping 4 quarterbacks. Like normally that doesn't happen. But then I also realized that last year we played 5 starting quarterbacks and I'm like,
right.
Okay, I kind of get like the thinking on it. And it was weird to me that they did it because at that point in time, everybody else was releasing quarterbacks. I mean, we had quarterbacks that were 1st round picks being released out this year. So, with that, were you expecting Tyler Huntley to be the one that would have been released and not DTR?
Yeah, I was. I feel like Tyler Huntley was somebody they didn't expect, and then hey, all of a sudden Tyler Huntley's available. Nobody else picked him up, so hey, bring him in just in case something happens. He was kind of like the ultra insurance policy to your quarterbacks. Maybe thinking a little bit about what happened last year, but yeah, I think Jameis Winston was always going to be the backup for this year because of his experience, and I mean he's a great teammate. He's a guy who can help Watson, a guy maybe Watson looks up to because of what he did in his college days and being a number 1 overall pick. And everything we hear, he's just a good dude and a good teammate. So I think he's perfect to be your backup. And then I think DTR is kind of still what they view their backup to be in the future. And if they were comfortable with him being the backup this year, they would have never brought in Jameis. But I think they learned their lesson from last year when they said, hey, we're going to have this young guy be our backup and, this great team around him. We're going to throw all the weight of the team on his shoulders. And he did get better. So I'm not going to trash on DTR a whole lot. He got better from the Baltimore game to the Denver game where he got hurt in. So that's kind of what was frustrating about that because I could see him, even in that Denver game, I saw him progress and I feel like he was playing his best ball when he got hurt. But still, you can't count on him for a team that hopefully has for sure playoff aspirations, maybe even Super Bowl aspirations. You can't rely on him. So I think another year of seasoning. They're hoping that they bring him back. He'll still be cheap for another 2 years. So yeah, I think it was always Huntley as the odd man out.
Okay. Chris brought up a question here and said, "Would you think that keeping 4 quarterbacks worried some people that Watson was still hurt?" For me, no, because once he got medically cleared to play in that Seattle game, if he was going to play in that Seattle game, at that point in time, it was, the Band-Aid's ripped off. You got to play. There's no, as soon as he got medically cleared, it was like, okay, you got to play now. There's no holding it back anymore. There's no, well, we're going to keep him on the sidelines and just kind of like baby him into this. For me, as soon as I heard Deshaun Watson is medically cleared to play football again, I was like, well, for me, that's enough.
Yeah, for me, it didn't concern me at all. But I think he said, do you think it worried some people? Absolutely, it worried some people. I mean, when it comes to Deshaun Watson, people are going to believe pretty much anything. I mean, there was rumors going around that Watson was concerned or worried that Jameis was going to take his spot, so that's why the Browns were looking to trade Jameis. And I mean, yeah, people are just going to make believe whatever they want to when it comes to Deshaun Watson. So yeah, there were people that were thinking that.
All right. So speaking of Deshaun Watson, we got news today that they're pretty much paying him this year the minimum contract that they could give him, and pretty much paid him in signing bonus, freeing up $62 million in cap space, Bri. They are just paying cash out like crazy. And everybody says, but what they can say about the cap, Bri, the way I see it is if you got cash flow and you want to pay that money, the cap is not real. I mean, they're just, at this point in time, he was going to be the biggest cap hit on our roster for the next handful of years. Now, granted, they're probably rolling this around for Myles Garrett. Might want some more money here come next year or so. We got a couple guys that we got to pay coming up, so they might be doing this to kind of roll the ball down the road for the next couple of years to give them a little bit of space where they can do some stuff with it. But I mean, what did you think about them paying him now the league minimum and showing out that much money in a signing bonus?
Yeah, to be honest, I don't totally understand all the, if he's making league minimum, then, I don't understand all that. It sounds like they did this move to free up money for next year because, they were going to be maybe possibly over the cap unless they kind of massage the numbers and try to rework it. And I think the meaningful thing is it means you're even further indebted to Deshaun Watson. So Everybody who wanted to move on from him after this year, the moves today made it more difficult for them to move on from him. So the Deshaun haters out there, you should probably be pretty pissed about this. But yeah, I mean, what else are the Browns going to do? Quarterbacks just don't grow on trees. It's not like, hey, if we cut Deshaun Watson, our quarterback woes are solved. So yeah, you're stuck with him. I always said for sure this year, probably next year. Well, it's very probable that he's going to be around for next year. So yeah, if you don't like him or you think he's terrible, you should probably go find another team to root for because you're just dragging everybody else down. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that's kind of how I took it. Is everyone was saying, well, they haven't restructured Deshaun's contract, so maybe there's some doubt there that they just want to get him off the books. And then, sure enough, this happens today, and it goes to show you that everyone can talk over and over and over about this narrative or that narrative and how this is going to be, what they're doing. The Browns don't care about that. They're going to do stuff in their own time. Maybe it wasn't time to do it in April or July, but now it's time to do it. So they get it done, and that's really what matters. And yeah, I mean, it's just it's something we're gonna have to deal with. We knew this when he gave him that giant contract, and I trust Andrew Berry. He's a lot smarter than 99.99999% of everybody out there who's talking about this subject. So Andrew Berry knows what he's doing. He's not going to be like hamstringing us. The fact that we were still talking about going after Brandon Ayuk was a huge surprise to me. I'm like, we can afford him? Really? With all the guys we're paying, we can still afford that guy? So
that was the speculation today with this move that structure happens. Like, okay, you freed up enough money for Brandon Ayuk. There it is.
Right.
Like,
Right.
and it was, and as soon as that happened, it was like a dumpster fire on all social media. Like, we're getting Ayuk. And then he ended up re-signing with the 49ers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so that's where I'm at with the Deshaun stuff. I mean, if you're a Deshaun hater, yeah, I beg you, please go root for another team because I don't want to hear you anymore. Oh, Justin roots for the Bengals now, right?
No, he's still a Browns fan.
I thought he said he was a Bengals fan. Maybe we can get some confirmation on that.
Well, he did say a couple of things here. Do you have a beer ready?
Mm-hmm. Hold on. Yeah.
Okay. He said he loves the massage things. That was part of Andrew Berry massaging the cap.
Did I say that? I played right into his hand there.
You gave him the begging strips on that one. It wasn't me.
I take responsibility for that one.
And then he also said with them giving him the minimum, it does free up a bit less of a hit if they cut him. But I guess even saying that should be finding a new team. Justin, I get what you're saying there because they are paying him the minimum this year. But the cap penalty that he creates for the next 2 years is just ungodly because I believe next year it's like a $58 million hit on our cap and then another one after that. So they can't really cut him and then eat all that dead cap money. We're stuck with Deshaun for at least 2 more years.
That's what I heard somebody say today. He's untradeable and he's uncuttable. So, I mean, unless he goes out and wins the MVP and wins the Super Bowl, nobody's really going to want to trade for him. So, and if he does all that stuff and he's playing that great, you're not going to want to trade him. So, the chances of us trading or cutting him are, it's different. People saw the Russell Wilson situation and they thought, oh, well, maybe that gives us an out for Deshaun. And sorry, we're going to be talking about this year, next year, at least for the next 18 months. So that's why I say if you're not comfortable with it, move on.
All right. Now I do have to bring up, Bri, Vegas has come out and we will get into some betting next week via some of our bets, but Vegas has come out and I believe it's an 8.5 for your Cleveland Browns. Are you getting the over or the under on that one, Bri? Because 8.5 kind of scares me. And Vegas knows their shit. They're pretty damn good for taking people's money. 8.5, Bri. That's where we're at with win total.
Are you second guessing your prediction, your schedule game?
Man, we did the way too early schedule game, Bri. I'm not saying
really. You've come down. You were at 11, I think, right? You were higher than I was.
I'm just scared that Vegas has them at 8.5. Like I can understand, 9.5, but 8.5.
Let me tell you this: if you watch Sports Center or any national program, you understand the Browns hate is real. The Deshaun hate is real. So they're not going to give you the benefit of the doubt. So, I mean, we proved last year that we can do it with our quarterback not playing great. So I'm not worried about it. I think 8 wins is probably the floor, and I think maybe 12 wins is the ceiling.
Okay, I get you.
I mean, you lost your starting quarterback last year. You lost your best offensive weapon 6 quarters in last year. And I guess there's no guarantee that he's going to be Nick Chubb of old. But, I mean, so I don't know if you want to talk about it now. We might as well get through just a recap of the preseason. Like last year, we were having these exact same the people that are freaking out now, like I think there were 30 players who didn't play in the preseason, at least the preseason finale. There were 30 guys that didn't play, and Deshaun Watson's going to be the big name that comes up. But so we were having these exact same conversations last year about this team, and what has Kevin Stefanski done the last 2 years? In game number 1, They've come out and they've looked like gangbusters. What did we do against Cincinnati last year? Yeah, all these guys have been playing the preseason last year, and we came out on fire, and we finished the deal. And we stomped them. Now, you can make up excuses like, oh, Joe Burrow was only 69%, or Joe Burrow was 34%. It doesn't matter. We smoked them. And then what happened the year before against Carolina? That first half, we were dominating them. And then the second half, we let them back into it because we were a young team. We didn't know how to close. And they had Christian McCaffrey, and they were just throwing screens to him, and he was running all over us. But so last year we learned how to close. So the last 2 years, we've come out with our hair on fire, and we're going to be at home in a primetime game. I'm not super worried about now, Dallas is a good team, so don't make me help you believe that we're just going to crush them. It's going to be a game, but I don't have any worries that we're not going to be ready to play here in a couple weeks. So I don't know how you feel. I feel like the mood of the team is down, but I don't really understand why. I think people are they're getting caught up in the moment. Everyone's so down on Deshaun. I'm sorry, one last thing. Everyone's so down on Deshaun. Remember the last time he played a game? He was at the all-time high. We were at the highest we were feeling about Deshaun, and he hasn't stepped on the field since then. And everybody just kind of says, oh, well, he's going to suck because he threw a pick in practice or something like that. Like, no, you're getting caught up in the moment. Think about the progress he made last year until he got hurt. If you're seriously concerned about his injury, then I understand your concern, but usually that's not the case for a lot of people.
Yeah, and Bri, we still keep bringing up the Baltimore game and the second half of the Baltimore game. I think for me personally, it's more consistency than anything else. I don't give a shit about a half of football. I want to see something consistent on the field with him, and we haven't seen it since he's been here.
But legends are made in the crunch time when you make plays. The haters are going to bring up the first half of the Baltimore game. The believers are going to bring up the second half. Michael Jordan's, LeBron James, when he scored 29 to 30 points, what did he do in the first half? Does anybody know? No, it's about what you do when your team needs to make plays to win the game. He made plays against the number one seed in the AFC on the road. He made plays to win the game. So, I mean, I understand. One was way up here, one was down here. And by the way, he did all that with a broken shoulder. So I don't understand people still pushing this narrative. Well, he got his money. He doesn't want to play. He doesn't care. He came back early against Indianapolis when he shouldn't have. It was very clear that he was still injured when he came back against Indianapolis. And then he goes out there with a season-ending injury against Baltimore, and he does what he did there. Like, what else does this guy have to show you that he wants to play? He wants to be on the field. He wants to help his team out. So, I mean, the people that are pushing that narrative still are just lazy, or they just don't care how dumb they look.
I guess I don't care how dumb I look. So we're on.
So you still think that he doesn't care? He's counting his money. He doesn't really want to be in Cleveland.
It's not that he doesn't care. It's not that any of that. I just need to see a season out of him, Bri. Everybody keeps telling me about.
Oh, so do I. So does everybody.
How great it is. Well, guess what? I need to see it, Bri. I haven't seen it. I see glimpses. I see windows. I see halves. I see quarters. I still have not seen a full season of our franchise quarterback that we paid money to. That's where I'm getting. And it's not that I don't give a shit that he broke his shoulder and he played the greatest second half of Baltimore. I don't care.
You should. You should. That was a huge win. That was one of the best ones in franchise history.
And I get that.
That might be a little strong. At least 10 years.
But what I am saying, though, is I need to see it on a more consistent basis. I don't need to see glimmers of hope. I don't care if you have a shitty first quarter and come out and light it up in the half. I don't care if you have a shitty half. But up until then, Bri, it was, we're still questioning this. We're still questioning that. still questioning this with this guy. And then he has one good half. And then that's what everybody comes back to is like, it was the second half. Well, the 4 games before that, he wasn't the greatest quarterback on the field.
He wasn't bad. He wasn't as bad as you think he was. Was he bad in Tennessee? Was he bad in Cincinnati? How many games was he bad in? Tell me the games he was bad in.
But it's not that
he's the Steelers game, maybe.
Right here, I'll even say it. Like, listen to Ken Carman. Right now, we traded Baker Mayfield for Baker Mayfield. That's what we have right now.
Sure.
And that's what we gave up to get
that.
Deshaun here. So that's where it's like, that's kind of where my hiccup is like, okay, we traded for this guy. Well, show me the goods. Show me the goods. Show me the razzle dazzle. Show me everything. I want to see it.
I understand what you're saying.
12 games.
Right. And so I understand your frustration. It's not like Deshaun Watson said, hey, coach, take me out. I don't want to play the rest of the season here. I mean, injuries happen in football. I understand your frustration. So why are you going to hold it against him? He was ascending. And I understand, like you said, he's Baker Mayfield. And I agree with you. To this point, he has been what Baker Mayfield could get us. But I saw him getting better. I saw him ascend until his season-ending injury. And then, since then, he hasn't been on the field. So, and it might take time again this year, which everyone doesn't want to give him time. But, hey, I'll give him time as long as he keeps winning. And last year, he kept winning. So I will continue to give him time. And, I mean, at this point, you're stuck with it. It's not like I don't know if he could play bad enough this year for them to sit him down and play Jameis Winston. He would have to be, like, all-time terrible. So, I mean, I'm going to try to be positive as long as I can. I mean, there's so many people that are trying to pull you down into negative town based on preconceived notions that they have, based on sitting and thinking about the bad moments that he had last year, based on, let's be honest, their personal feelings towards him. So, yeah, I don't know. He's my quarterback, and I'm going to support the team.
All right. I support you, brother. I just, for me, personally, I just got to see it. And I do. I have high hopes for this team this year. I have high hopes for him, but I need to see it. I need to see it with my own 2 eyes. And I have not seen it in almost 9 months, 10 months. So it's kind of the eye test. I mean,
yeah. It was a season-ending injury. Do you say I got to see it from Nick Chubb? Nick Chubb hasn't shown it in 11 months, 12 months almost.
Okay.
I got to see it from Nick Chubb. I got to see it from Nick Chubb.
And when Nick Chubb comes back, do I think he's going to be Nick Chubb of old? No, I don't have those expectations, but everybody's telling me that Deshaun Watson's got those expectations, though.
Like I've said before, Deshaun Watson just has to win, and last year he won. So last year he's good for me. He didn't lose us games. Well, and you know what's crazy to me is there are people out there that call themselves Browns fans that truly believe they're Browns fans. They support the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback more than the Browns quarterback. They will root for Justin Fields, and they will not root for Deshaun Watson. I mean, I don't know. Those people are the worst type of fans. Could you imagine rooting for Ben Roethlisberger and being like, hey, Miami of Ohio, go Big Ben.
There's been people that are like that.
No, there's more than a few, unfortunately.
Because I know a lot of people that when the Browns didn't draft Ben Roethlisberger, they jumped ship and went to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, they're called fair weather fans. So if you support Justin Fields at all, you are a fair weather fan in my book. Now, if you want to root for him when he was on the Bears, whatever. But he's your rival right now. So if you say any good things about Justin Fields, that crappy quarterback, go root for Pittsburgh, please.
All right, Brian. I was going to get into Guardians. I don't even want to talk about the Guardians now because
they've lost 9 to 10. We'll get it back.
Yeah, it's not looking good. Hopefully, we get it picked back up with Pittsburgh coming to town, and we have some good games there. Did not help losing 3 of 4 to Kansas City. Get Kansas City right back into it, but our lead has dwindled in the Central. and they just need to pull their heads out of their asses. I mean, Naylor is swinging at flies right now, just trying to hit anything. Stephen Kwan, who was flirting with 400, is now first time under 300 this year. It has not been pretty. They have definitely come back down to earth, Bry.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. I mean, there's still time for them, but they're waffling. I mean, in all honesty, this might be good for them if you want to see them succeed in the playoffs. Those are high pressure moments. You know, that's the big stage, and so you just coasting into the playoffs with a 7, 8, 9 game lead the whole time. That's not going to really create any pressure for you. Now you're going to have to scratch and claw into the playoffs, and you know you need every game like blood. That might prepare you. That might harden you for the playoffs when you know you lose 3 in a row and your season's over. So yeah, I think this could be a good thing for a young team.
Yeah, they're definitely going to work at it. I mean, it's definitely going to be a September to remember here, Bry, coming up, because it's going to be a lot of meaningful games for Cleveland Guardians. All right. So, Bry, we do have a quick Fat Boy Thursday that I want to talk to you. Then we'll get into our top 3 tonight. So just quick Fat Boy Thursday.
And now it's time for Fat Boy Thursday.
With Labor Day weekend coming up and summertime technically starting to go away, I kind of wanted to bring up some summertime favorites of ours this year. Just favorite foods that we've had this summer. You know, anything that you have gotten that you've never tried before, Bry, that you've gotten somewhere, or a festival that you went to and had a good time at. Just kind of shout out some places. Now, I know you've had baby, so I know that you've had baby, but is there something this summer food wise that got you excited, that's something that you tried, something that you liked, something new?
Yeah, you know me. I'm simple. Hamburgers, hot dogs on the grill. That's my favorite summertime stuff. I could eat it probably every single weekend. We went to we celebrated the anniversary this past weekend, so we went to a few places in Medina. So if you're ever down in this area, try out the Tilted Farmer is a new restaurant / winery that had really good food. I think we got like the honey pecan chicken that was phenomenal.
Oh, that sounds
And
fantastic.
it was good. It was really good. We went up to a brewery called the Planted Flag Brewery. They had good food there. And then we went to this place near the square called Time 2. It's a bit of a fancier restaurant, but down underneath they have a restaurant, like a pub downstairs. So I got a burger down there that was probably one of the best burgers I've had all year. So yeah, if you're looking for some good food in Medina, there's 3 good recommendations there. I know it's not what you asked, but
no, but that's kind of the thing. Like,
I'm simple. I have potato salad, burgers, dogs, chips.
Can't go wrong with that.
Anything. Yeah, that's kind of my summertime go-to.
You know, like we went to, like, my favorite thing to do is, like, when we go to Twins Fest, they always have that one Italian sausage place that does like the sausage and the peppers and the marinara and make a sub roll out of it. We always hit up that place. I finally did get to try some Mexican street corn the other day, which, man, if you have not had that, Brian, that is some fantastic stuff. I had some of that. I've went to certain taco places, little street tacos. We just had the North Olmsted homecoming here last weekend, where we went and they made a red, white, and blue slushy. It actually was fantastic.
Wow.
And then, just some other places that you hit up, like little food trucks while you're out and about, any picnic areas that you kind of go to, especially if you're cooking for yourself. But if you're finding, especially during the summertime here in Cleveland, it's nice to go to the beach, get a food truck that's right there, get you a couple tacos or something from the food truck. We did find a mac and cheese truck that was fantastic. A whole bunch of different kinds of mac and cheese.
Sounds good.
So, but yeah, go check out what Cleveland has to offer. They have so much food to offer here in Cleveland, Medina County, all around have got great restaurants, great breweries, and everything. Go check it out. Hit us up on all of our socials. Tell us some of the places that you guys like to eat at here in Cleveland. We would love to hear from you. I know one of our favorites, even though it's a Mexican night, El Rodeo, we go there for margarita night some nights, me and the wifey. I know it's nothing fancy, but it's something for us to do here in Cleveland. You had Cocky's Bagels, which is just right around the corner. Some great breakfast sandwiches out of there. We even got some great meat places here. State Road Meats in Parma. You got Gibbs Butcher Block down there in between me and you in Columbia Station that has got some fantastic food. So please just go check it out and hit us up. Justin said on here, homemade granola bars.
Okay. I'll try that.
Nothing wrong with that, right?
That doesn't sound bad.
All right. So top 3 tonight, Bri, as we are getting into it. Now bring up our little sounder. You and I are going to have some fun tonight because college football is starting right now. Your team's playing right now. Your
Toledo game. Yeah, I'm trying to find it here. I don't see it. I literally have like 12 games on ESPN Plus. William and Mary versus VCU. Women's soccer. But no Toledo game. Women's soccer, men's soccer, women's. This is ridiculous. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. Let's do our top 3. And let's have some fun with our favorite college athletes. Bri, why don't you go first with your top 3?
Okay. All right. Well, so I think when we were talking earlier, maybe you said this, maybe I just made it up in my head. I did top 3 college football players.
Yes,
so
I'm sorry.
If yours is okay. Gotcha. All right. So we are on the same page. All right.
Yeah, I said college athletes, and that's all I think about is college athletes as football players. I'm sorry. That's me being biased because college football
X out Tyler Hansborough. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. So I got
now there is
my
one
number
rule.
3.
We get one Michigan player and one Ohio State player each, right?
Right.
So and then other than that,
so you can't just load them up with Buckeyes.
Yep. Okay. Go ahead.
So you'll be surprised. My Michigan player is number 2. So I got somebody ahead of that. So my number 3 is a current college football player. He does not play for Michigan. He plays for Penn State. Drew Aller, quarterback, Penn State. Just because he's Medina alum, so support him. He took the program to new heights. Won Mr. Football. I don't think anybody at Medina has ever done that. We got a game on ESPN. So yeah, it was pretty cool to see what he did for that team. So I'll root for him. And I've heard people that know him, guys that have coached him, that they say he's just a quality kid. So yeah, I root for guys like that. I'll be rooting for Penn State. Who knows? Maybe even when they play Michigan, I might root for them, depending on what Michigan's record is at the time. So he's my number 3. What's that?
The wins, if they count.
Oh yeah, well, they're gonna. Speaking of wins, national champion JJ McCarthy is my number 2.
Oh shit!
I mean,
oh my god, you have all these Michigan players, and you picked that guy.
I picked the guy. What do we say about quarterback? It's the most important position. It's the most important position of any position in all sports. That guy got me a championship. Him and LeBron. I got 2 guys. Thank you, JJ McCarthy. You're the man. Thank you for the championship. And then my number 1. You probably could guess my number 1. What do you think?
Probably Tebow.
There you go, Tim Tebow.
Yeah, there it is. I kind of figured. Tebow.
And the reason it's him is just because when you're 19, 20, 21 years old, it's so easy to go the way of Johnny Manziel. So easy to buy into your hype and to believe you're the almighty, you're the God. Everyone else should bow down beneath you. You get everything, all the riches. You go to all the parties. You get all the girls. And so Tim Tebow kind of said, I'm not interested in that stuff. And he would take time. He would go on spring break to these mission trips. And it's just, I mean, for a 21-year-old to have the world at your feet and you choose to help other people, I mean, that's pretty unbelievable. I think that's something we could all admire.
All right. So, Bri, that's actually pretty good. I mean, I kind of figured Tebow would be in there.
3 quarterbacks for me.
3 quarterbacks for you. Now, it is not 3 quarterbacks for me. I don't even think I have a quarterback in my top 3. So,
okay,
Bri, for me, number 3, and I will say this for a very long time, probably one of the greatest athletes I have ever seen play football, Chris Gamble of the Ohio State University.
That's your Ohio State guy. Okay,
that's my Ohio
I thought you were going to
State
say
guy.
Bo Jackson, but I'm like, I think we were too young for Bo Jackson.
We were too young for Bo Jackson, but Chris Gamble playing both offense and defense and just doing the stuff that he did for Ohio State that year. Brian, it was unreal. Like I couldn't believe he was out there every play. Like he took 2 plays off in an entire game. He just wanted to play football. And he was, Chris Gamble is hands down. And also I'll do an honorable mention Buckeye in there. Mike Nugent. Every time that guy went out to kick, it was money. Huge. All right. So Chris
Gamble got flopped to get you guys a national championship. So absolutely. He's your JJ McCarthy. Without that flop, you guys don't win, right?
I'm all right with that.
Let it begin. It's September almost, right?
Football is back. My number 2 is probably also, and it was an athlete. Now he was a bigger athlete, and I got to see him when I was a lot younger. Ron Dane was just a big mamma jamma and just one of the best running back, just running over people. Now, it really didn't translate into, the NFL, but man, in college, he was something else. He was just a battering ram of just, oh man.
He had those giant shoulder pads. Like, yeah, he was a beast. He looked like an offensive lineman.
And okay, I had a hiccup because I do have a quarterback as my number 1, but I'm going to switch him because now I'm going to keep him.
Switch your number 1?
No, I'm going to keep him. No, I'm going to keep him. I remember the game vividly. Byron Leftwich for Marshall.
Wow.
I remember his offensive line carrying his ass down the field what seemed like to be a broken ankle, and just watching how his team rallied around him and how he wouldn't give up on his team, Bri, was just something that was ingrained in me when I was little watching that. And I wouldn't even say little. I was probably, high school years. But it was just something cool to see that you normally don't see. Like, you've seen the Hail Marys and everything else. But to have your team actually carry you down to take the next snap just so you could throw the ball again was just something unreal for me to watch. And now, granted, I know his career did not go the greatest afterwards, but one of my favorite college players was watching that game and how he just mudded through that game. And it was amazing to me.
I thought you were going to have the Pillsbury Throwboy in your top 3.
Jared Lorenzen is not in there, even though
wow. I'm surprised.
I know, he was so great too, wasn't he?
He was unlike anything we've ever seen before, a quarterback that big have that kind of success.
400-pound quarterback. It was great.
I think
made offensive
linemen
was. It made offensive linemen think that they could throw the ball, Bri.
When we talk about him in about 20 years, he's going to be the 600-pound quarterback. My goodness, he could throw it a country mile.
Buddy, he did, though. He really did.
He was good.
All right, we want to end our show with our trivia. Bri, I asked you which AFC North team in the past 13 years is ranked 7th. Or bottom 7th.
7th worst.
7th worst in the NFL in postseason.
Yeah. Boy. Who knows? The Browns were 1-2. I'm down between the Steelers and the Bengals. The Bengals just because of Andy Dalton. I remember talk of him always getting to the playoffs but never winning a playoff game. I'm hoping Justin's throwing some Steelers hate at us, so I'm going to say the Steelers.
You are correct. It is the Pittsburgh Steelers. In the past
Nice.
13 years are 3-8 in playoff games.
Terrible. They're awful.
Yeah, suck it, Pittsburgh. I'm glad you got Russell Wilson.
3-8, so they've made playoffs 11 of 13 years.
No.
Gosh.
That's their. They haven't made playoffs. They
Oh,
haven't had a
okay.
playoff
I got
game. That's
you. Right.
wins
Yep.
and
So
losses.
when they win the first one, they have a second one. Yeah. You're
Mhm.
Gotcha.
So yeah,
Nice.
absolutely crazy. But
I like the Steelers slander.
Gotta have the Steelers slander. Thank you, Justin, for that one. Again, happy birthday, my brother. He did ride his bike 41 miles, I believe. Unreal.
Crazy. Happy birthday,
All right.
Justin.
We want to thank our troops and first responders for everything you guys do, letting us do this show. Thank you, Network 216, Harold Keel, Laker APA, also City Dogs Cleveland. Brian, we're here at the end of the show. God bless them.
God bless you. God bless America.
All right. We are definitely uncorked, unloaded. We see you guys next Thursday. Have a good night.